Framer have released something I've never seen before on a no-code platform, which is AI agents that are fully integrated with the platform itself. Everything from designing websites on the canvas to creating and editing content on the CMS. This is really cool. You can also bring your own AI agents to the platform itself. It doesn't mean that you're limited to what's on the interface. You can have your own Claude Code instance, Codex, or even something like OpenClaw start editing changes on your behalf. This is a huge change, especially for professionals who are looking to build websites on professional software. While I've used things like Lovable or Bolt.new, they're often locked into an iframe and you're working on a Vite instance. You're not actually designing in the traditional sense. So I'm really excited to see what these changes bring and test them all out. Let's find out. Starting on the Framer homepage, let's log in. In our workspaces, let's select this project I previously had open. And on the right-hand panel here, we have this new option for agent. Similar to VS Code, we can open up new chats, select an AI model to use, such as Sonnet, GPT, or Opus. I will show you how to connect your own AI model a little bit later on. Selecting the cursor, we can select elements on the page to reference them as context. We can send the message to the AI. Here, I haven't actually provided any details of what I wanted to do with the title block I selected, but the model here is smart enough to ask me questions of what action to perform. Here are some. I'm simply going to ask it to restyle it based on the current design of the page itself. It goes ahead and completes that action, and here's the new design. It's made the font a little bit more bold, the line spacing a little less, as well as added in this linear gradient, which makes the design look a little bit more professional than just plain white text like it was before. For every change that's made, there's also history, so I can undo and redo those changes at any point in time. I can also bring up the right-hand side context menu and have a look at the prompt information, which gives me stats on how long it took and how many tokens it used. I can also do a full revert, going back in time completely before I even had the chat dialogue, and this very much reminds me of how I normally operate inside of Cursor because I love being able to test out different things and sometimes revert them if they didn't turn out the way I want. As you make different types of changes and use up tokens, you're also using credits. And just like things like Claude Code, there's a daily credit limit. Let's head to settings over here and then head over to usage to take a look at that. Right now, we've used about 105 out of our 500 daily credits. You can also upgrade your plan to have additional credits through the month, but you still have the ability to connect up your own local AI model through something like Claude Code or Codex and use your own credits rather than credits through Framer. Actually, let's do this right now because I've just run out of credits and I'm gonna have to wait until tomorrow to get some more. If you head to this page here, which I'll link in the description, you can connect it to any of the software you're using. Right now, I'm using Claude Code, so I'm gonna paste in this prompt here, which is gonna connect up my project to Claude Code. It goes through and makes sure that Node.js 24 is installed, as well as the Framer package for their agents. Once these two steps are done, you're gonna need to copy out your project URL, which you can grab here at the very top under the project link. Once I paste this into my chat window, I'll authorize this instance of Claude Code to have access to this project. With that done, I can now get Claude Code to start creating actions on this canvas. So let's test this out. I want to rework the testimonial section because right now the UI is a little bit cluttered. There's no space or padding in between, and I want to show all 6 elements. So I'm going to ask it to do that. Claude Code then grabs the skills that it needs to be able to perform this task, and it starts running in the background. This takes about 5 to 10 minutes, and once done, we have this new section here with around 6 new testimonials that look a little bit better. But it continued to work on those in the background. And finally, we have this revision just over here. I'm just scratching the surface of what you can do with something like this. Because for example, you could connect up Claude Code to Notion, where you might have a project for a client, and pull the testimonials as real-world examples straight into the design canvas. Now, let's take a look at the CMS and how AI agents can work natively between the designs you have as well as the data you have all over the place. Here I have this testimonial section and I want to convert it into an actual CMS. I'll ask the AI to do this for me and you can see it's processing in the background and starting to perform that action. In the design canvas, you can see that this section has been turned into a component that is also connected to that CMS and dynamic data is being pulled in. Now to take this one step further, let's turn this into a reusable component so that this section here can be used in other parts of the website. I'll ask the AI agent to do this for me and I'll get started. Now that this is a component, I can also get it to do a couple of different types of variations in terms of the UI, so I can see what that experience might look like in the website overall. I ended up with these 3 variations over here, and overall I like this one here called Spotlight the most because it gave me a high quality type of design that felt like it was quite premium. Next up is to test out responsive design. I'll prompt it to create some responsive breakpoints for tablet and mobile here for this testimonial section and see how it goes at handling that. Not too bad, pretty much exactly how I would structure it myself. We've got the tablet version with 2 columns and the phone with a single column design. Pretty much perfect. Now I want to test out React components, one of the things that Framer is known to do quite well. So I'm going to ask it to create a countdown timer and make it a React component inside of Framer that I can modify and view the code of. You can see all the code itself in this file called slow countdown, and it's a pretty big file, but also designed with the same aesthetic that the page has overall right now. I'll be really interested to see how this works with more complex components in the future, but for now, at least I know these AI agents have a good grip of how to design these components inside of Framer. I want to add some animations now. I'm going to ask the AI agent to create a transition animation every time we have these elements on the screen itself. This prompt runs in the background for a couple of minutes, and once it's complete, it creates this outcome. It's a slow fade in with a slight scale as the cards come into the viewport. I'll select play so you can see that once more. It isn't anything over the top, but that's what you normally want if you're creating transitions or animations on a website. The last test is the most difficult, building an entire web design from scratch from some reference images in Framer. And I'm going to get the AI agent to do this by attaching some screenshots of the design from my graphics designer just over here. It's for a website called New Collections, and I want to attach this and just ask it to put together the homepage. It gets started immediately, building out the design from the reference image and then starting to add in the content that was added in that as well. While the AI agent is building out the design for the homepage, I can still jump in, make my own changes at the same time in parallel. And this is pretty cool because I know that sometimes the nuance of what I'm trying to get done might be lost on the agent, such as these lines here under the categories. However, as last time, the AI agent's done a pretty good job at replicating the design, and then I can jump in and update the nuances that I might want to do as a graphics designer. Finally, a big thanks to Framer for sponsoring today's video. There's still a lot more that I haven't checked out with their new AI agent update. Everything from uploading files like images to replicate a design, more coding examples, or even things like working with the agent through something like Cursor or Codex, or even just using it in the chat and doing things like mentions, using skills and other features, which I'm really excited to test out in the future. So finally, let me know what you guys think of this new update and if there's anything specific I should test for the next video.